in Whiteman Air Force Base.
The Utah State basketball game is final, and now it's your chance to text and call about it with Al Lewis and John Russell as KVNU Aggie Game Day continues with Aggie Call. The numbers are 753-5868 for calls, and the text line is 435-339-0321. Aggie Call, part of KVNU Aggie Game Day for USU Hoops, is sponsored by Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat, LSS Insurance, Young Truck and Trailer, DD Auto and Salvage, My Mattress, Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning, Elements Restaurant, White Pine Funeral Home, ChemDry of Northern Utah, Aegis Home Health and Hospice, Les Olson Company, Prodigy Brewing, Cache Valley Bank, Jarek's Fine Jewelry, Darrow's Appliance, HSA Depot, Advanced Fireplace and Stove, Alpine Home Medical, S.E. Needham Jewelers, Thermo Fisher, Primrose Home Care, and Golden Spike Electric. It's KVNU Aggie Call with Al Lewis and John Russell.
Well, those two teams that Utah State had from, 1918, 1919, and 1938-39, they still hold the record along with this year's team because the Aggies were 9-0, and Weber State outscores them 46-29 in the second half. Aggies got down by 6, got it back to tie, could never get over the top. Weber State made big plays, and they beat the Aggies tonight, and they deserved to beat the Aggies tonight, 75-72, because the Aggies had an 18-point lead, 10 minutes gone into this game, John Russell, and they didn't continue to play after that.
No, should have taken advantage of that early lead. Foul trouble, doing a great job getting Weber State in foul trouble, but they were the better team in the second half, hands down. You don't have to look at stats. You don't have to look at anything. If you watch the game at all, they were the better team.
All we had in the second half was eventually Stephen Ashworth at the end we had nothing offensively. At one stage of the second half, they were 0 for 7 from 3, and they'd shot 2 out of 15 against Weber State. And at that time, Weber was 10 out of 19 and had gone by the Aggies by as many as 6, and they win the game 75-72.
Well, one of the things you said when I got in studio was they forgot how to play basketball, and they sure did on both ends of the court.
We'll bring in Jalen Moore. Jalen, the Aggies just did not play the same way. I wrote this down. Forcing shots, Wildcats can't be stopped off the drive, and, of course, some key turnovers. And then the board game, Utah State really got outplayed in the second half.
Yeah, that's kind of what it came down to. They got outplayed, and we always touch on, a lot of those little things. And rebounding is big. I know it's probably repetitive to people that listen to the radio and me talking, but it's such a big thing in basketball. And when we have the size advantage that we had over them and just hadn't really been out-rebounded that much all season, they come in and out-rebound us by 3. And then, we sit here, hey, they're not that great of a three-point shooting team. Well, they come in and shoot 50%, and we knew in-state games people are going to play better. They're going to make more shots. They're going to play harder. The energy and effort's going to be there. And I thought Weber State brought it, at the start of that second half. They got down by 18 and they didn't lose their focus. They kept doing what they needed to do. And a lot of time in the second half, it looked like they kind of just, hey, let's give it to our guards. Let's hit a high pick and roll. Let's try to ISO them and drive past them and get to the rim, get them in foul trouble. And those are the things they did in the second half that they weren't doing in the first half. And, we just kind of struggled with keeping him out of the paint and stuff like that in the second half.
And we kept Verplanken off the board in the first half. He had 10 in the second half. But Ballard, this old transfer from Fresno State, he came back and hurt us in this game tonight. Ballard made some really big plays.
Yeah, they had guys step up. The thing is, when there's basketball, like we said, it's funny. It's a game of runs. And Weber State went on their run and took the lead. And every time that we tried to go back on our run and even the game out or potentially take the lead again, Weber State, they came up with a big bucket every time. They never let us. They had an answer every time when we tried to get back into the game, and that's big. And I think that's kind of what kept them obviously in the lead. They just had an answer, whether – I remember it was tied 64-64. They came down and would get another bucket. They would go hit a 3. Ashworth would come hit a 3. They'd go down and get another bucket. Then they'd come down and they'd stop us. So they just had an answer every time that the game got tied or we had a chance of potentially taking the lead again in the second half.
Jalen, going back to the first half, it seemed like the Aggies just had total control of the game, momentum on their side. They were doing everything they wanted to and got Weber State in a lot of foul trouble. And then it seemed like they just kind of forgot what they had been doing.
Yeah, we were attacking the rim and we were getting open looks from 3 in the first half, but we were being more aggressive with it. Second half kind of settled a little bit for threes. And like you guys said, the stats, they weren't falling in the second half. So we needed to go back and get them in foul trouble, get back to the free throw line. And we kind of just didn't do those things. We kind of fell in love with the jump shot a little bit. While you flip the script on the other side, Weber State's going into the lane. They're getting layups. They're running in transition. They're getting fouled. They're driving and kicking to open guys on threes, which are great three looks, and they're knocking them down, and we weren't on the other end.
You know, I missed you after the last game. I had a lot of questions for you, and you didn't join us post game, and I was thinking of bringing those questions up, but at this point, tough loss. Now they go on a long road trip. They're going to Hawaii. They're going to play some very good teams. What does Coach do at this point?
You know, obviously there's some areas that we got to touch on, and that's the good thing about it. Sometimes when you don't lose, me and Al kind of touched on it. The good thing about our team is we felt like we always could find areas to improve, and that's what kept us winning. But sometimes it's good to lose a game. You don't feel invincible. You know that you have to step up every night out and bring it, right? Weber State was 4-7, had only beat 2 D1 teams before they beat us. We knew it was an in-state game. We didn't match their energy and effort that they brought in the second half. And if you don't do that from now on, every game that we play, you have a very good chance of losing that game. And it starts when we go and play Seattle. I think they only have 2 losses. You're going on Hawaii. You're on a neutral court. Win or lose in this tournament that they go play in, you're going to play a good team. And after that, we know what our conference is like. It's pretty stacked this year. So I think you take this game as a lesson, right? We didn't bring it for 2 whole halves. And if you don't do that in D1 basketball, the chances are you're going to get beat.
One of our better offensive players tonight in this game at times when he played was Sean Bairstow. He got in foul trouble and didn't play as much because of the fouls. He got in 4 and had to stay out. So as a result, then when we weren't having Ashworth, we weren't having anybody in this game. You know, you look at the stat sheet, Jalen, you have 5 guys in double figures, so you're thinking, hey, that's exactly the way the Aggies have to play. They get 14 assists in their 21 baskets, which is a little lower percentage than they normally get, but it's the 8 for 23 on 3. And then we did miss a lot of shots towards the basket at times in this game that could have made a difference in this game, too.
Yeah, I agree. And it's, 14 assists, we usually go into games averaging more than that. And you look at Weber, they had 17, and they're a team that usually doesn't get a lot of assists. So they outplay us by facilitating. We are the better three-point shooting team. You would think on paper we shoot 35%. Weber State's not very good. They come shoot 50. And the only thing that we did better than them is like our free throw percentage was pretty solid, and theirs was actually down, and they usually shoot a high percentage as a team. But other than that, they out-rebound us. They have more assists. They shoot better from the three. They just outplay us. Like you guys pretty much said, turnovers were about even. Skills were about even. You watched the game, which if you did, they just had more energy, more effort in the second half, and then they didn't give up on themselves when they got down by 18. So, like we say, you got to give credit to them.
The keys to the game from Jalen brought to you by Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat with their 2 locations. The Allergy Clinic Hearing Aid Center goes along with Ear, Nose, and Throat, accepting new patients. They're in North Logan and Providence. And your keys, keep them off the foul line. They only shot 9 for 16 and didn't make them. Make them turn over the ball. They only turned it over 11 times. Points off of turnovers tonight ended up being 9-2 for the Aggies. If we would have forced more, we could have got more there. And do a job on Dylan Jones. Jones about his average of 16 and 8. But when Jones made plays in this game, they were huge for them. And we had him in foul trouble early, and we couldn't get a third foul on him at a key time in this game. And he was big to help Weber win this game too.
Yeah, he was. He can handle the ball. He was making the correct reads on the driving kicks, and you look at him, he's just a strong guy. And honestly, we didn't do a very good job of keeping him out of the paint, and we would foul him at the rim, or he would get in there and finish. And you can tell by his frame, obviously, strong guy. He would come down, he would hit big threes when they needed it. He would facilitate and kick the guys when they needed it. He just did what I knew that he was capable of doing before the game started, and we didn't really ever take him out of his rhythm or make him uncomfortable or anything like that. And I think that's also what hurt us, is when you let the other team's best player really never feel uncomfortable. He never really has any worries, and he just goes out and plays the game that he's comfortable playing.
And then he had Cunningham hit some big shots, and Kohler hit some big shots for them early in the game, kept him in it. Verplanken, second half, finally got it going, and then Ballard, I thought, was kind of the big thorn in the side in his 24 minutes to get 14 points in this game. Jalen, it'll be Thursday afternoon. They're going to play over in Hawaii against Seattle. We're going to start pregame about 2:05, so we'll talk to you then, okay?
Yep, that sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Okay, we'll talk to Jalen on Thursday. Jalen Moore joining with us. John Russell still here with me. And now your show, as well as we're hoping to hear from players and coaches up at the Spectrum about the first loss of the season. It stopped a Utah State winning streak against Weber State that they had going back a ways. I think it was a 3-game streak, as I talked about before the game. The last time they beat the Aggies in Logan was my 1,000th game as a broadcaster, and they did it again tonight to ruin things at 9-0. But again, sometimes, the Aggies have, in tough situations this year, when the game's been on the line, the Aggies have been the best team and made the plays when they had to. Tonight, they didn't have a defensive answer, and they didn't have offensive answers, too, in this game. They really didn't.
And really, to get down to basics, Weber wanted the game more. I think if you were there
Especially
at
when
the game,
they were down and out by 18, 10 minutes into the game, they just kept playing, and the Aggies kind of put it on cruise control.
I had a feeling it was going to be a rough night because at that point, as you're talking about, Aggies are up by 18. They hit a couple of shots, and they hit a shot that took them down by like 12 or 13 in the first half, and the bench is up there high-fiving each other. They're excited. Just a tough game. Aggies didn't come ready to play, and they got whooped.
Early 7-0 run, first half, another 10-0 run by Weber State, and the Aggies were never able to grab the lead after that. One lead change in this game. Weber took the lead and won it. They only led 10-32 of this game, and they win it. Bench points in the paint, 32-24. Weber State over the Aggies. So those are some of the key stats. Let's talk about it. Your texts are available at 435-339-0321. And also, of course, you can call in at 753-KVNU. Riverwoods Conference Center wants to remind you they do have that New Year's Eve coming up where you can make your reservations for that for New Year's Eve and enjoy bringing in the new year there with some great food through Elements Restaurant. They've got a good buffet planned, and you can make your reservations for that. Game day as Weber State stops the Aggies win streak at 9, 75-72. Back after this.
This is James Stevens with White Pine Funeral Services. We are humbled by and grateful for the tremendous support we have been shown since opening our doors nearly 2 years ago. So we just want to say thank you. On behalf of everyone at White Pine, first and foremost, thank you for allowing us the honor and privilege of serving you and caring for your loved ones. Additionally, thank you for voting White Pine the best mortuary in Cache Valley in both 2021 and 2022.
White Pine Funeral Services, here when you need us most.
Nothing compares to the warmth and feel that a wood stove provides. The two-time Best of Northern Utah winning team says there's never been a better time to replace your old inefficient wood stove and install a new energy-efficient EPA-certified Vermont casting wood product in your home. The U.S. government is offering federal tax credits of 26% on your wood stove install. For Vermont casting units, that includes stoves, venting, and labor. Call or email Advanced Fireplace and Stove for a free in-home estimate. Call 435-752-7272 or go to advancedfireplaceandstove.com.
Ladies, many of you will be fortunate enough to find a small but beautifully wrapped package under your tree with a brown satin ribbon and a box imprinted Jerix. The man who put it there is trying desperately to tell you that you are more precious than diamonds, more valuable than gold, and very, very special. Men who come to Jerix believe their wives deserve the best. And whether they spend $49 or $4,900, the message is the same. Men who come to Jerix are still very much in love. We just thought you should know. Jerix Fine Jewelry, 930 North Main in Logan.
Thermo Fisher Scientific is hiring for their manufacturing, distribution, and warehouse team. And that's great news for anyone seeking a rewarding career. Thermo Fisher offers positions across multiple shifts, competitive compensation, health benefits, paid time off, bonuses, and an excellent work environment. Help Thermo Fisher make the world healthier, cleaner, and safer. Visit jobs.thermofisher.com and search Logan. Thermo Fisher Scientific is an equal opportunity employer.
Hi, this is Ashley with LSS Insurance. Open enrollment for individual health insurance is November 1st through January 15th. Coverage through the marketplace is available with more tax credits. You could save a bunch. If you haven't qualified in the past, try again now. We will help you navigate the marketplace, understand your choices, and complete enrollment. Trying it on your own can be frustrating. Let us help. Call 752-9493. There is no cost to work with us. Having a local agent makes all the difference. Call 752-9493.
More analysis about today's game and your chance to talk about it. It's KVNU Game Day with Aggie Call. Here's the voice of the Aggies, Al Lewis and John Russell.
It was 46-29 Weber State second half after 43-29 Aggies in the first half. And the Wildcats get the 3-point win over the Aggies to, again, stop Utah State's win streak that they had against Weber State. And the Wildcats, again, have now won 3 consecutive games. You know, their start was not good at all. But then when they go to Cal Poly, win by 29, Coach Odom talked about it. Hey, that shows you what they can do. And I think, again, when the Aggies got that early, quick 18, they were up 25-7. And then that was the 10-minute mark. Cunningham hit a 3. Jones then makes a 3-pointer with Atkin with the pass. And then they come back, and Jones gets 3 free throws. I put down he flopped on that play, and
yes,
he did. Earlier, though, to be honest, I think Funk drew an offensive foul. I think he flopped on the play on that one earlier. I think I'd written that down, too. So all that happening. And then Jones makes another floating one-hander. See, here's a time when he comes back in the game after he's got 2 early fouls, and he starts to make a difference and kind of gave them a little bit of life. Still, the Aggies take it out to 18 on 2 free throws by Shulga at about 3 minutes to play in the first half. And then Aggies only get the dunk by Atkin the rest of the first half, and they make a drive, a steal in a basket, and then a spinning hook shot. They're only 14. It's 14. Yeah. You still feel really confident. And then the Aggies come out and start that second half just miserably.
Yeah. Well, it was, again, the energy that Weber State, you'd think that, cutting it to 14 wouldn't be a big deal. They were excited about it, and it gave them the momentum.
They knew they were still in the game.
But, it's simple. We sit here, we've watched the game long enough, we understand the game well enough, but you get Jones, who is their guy. He's their main guy. He comes back in. I thought he was done for the entire half. He comes back in. The first thing you should have done is every time
try to go at him.
Try and go at him, get the
and
third foul.
And they tried a little bit, a couple of times, but not enough. Okay, advanced fireplace and stove. Remember, they have all of the stoves, fireplace inserts, all that you're looking for. 752-7272. Let's check the text line at 435-339-0321.
Sit down. We've got lots here and lots to say from the Aggie faithful. 56-34. Once again, Utah State overlooked Weber. This time in basketball, you'd think they would have learned from the football team.
There's a point. But again, this team also, though, as you heard Stephen Ashworth talk about, 9-0, but we know we haven't got anything done. We know we're going to win. Stephen, again, tried. They kept him. They must have really denied him the ball or done something to him defensively. And finally, once we got it in his hands, we had a chance, at least in this game.
Well, he's the leader. But
he is. He really is.
To follow up on 56-34, a bad loss, but hopefully a wake-up call. And I think that's what it could be as an opportunity. 89-68. Hey, guys, what I say about Weber and Utah State. They're cheering in Ogden tonight, just like in football. They felt the Aggies came in overconfident.
The Aggies were a 17-point favorite, I think.
Yeah, and I'm not sure about overconfident, but sure didn't play like they. It just
wasn't the same feeling.
Yeah. Yep. This one from 93-15. Where was the perimeter pass in the game? No energy on the passing. A little more one-on-one, a little more.
The start of the second half, I said we're not playing Aggie basketball. We're forcing shots, forcing three-pointers, and forcing individual play.
Yeah. Yep. And again, 93-15. Is it a bad loss for the Aggies? The last half of the game looked like we didn't even want to try. It depends on what you do the rest of the year. Mm-hmm. Certainly this is not a good loss. Mm-hmm. You go into
and Weber's not up there. They haven't, like Jalen said, they've only beaten now about 3 Division I teams. Their other 2 wins are Division II.
So you become a Weber fan now. If you're not, you definitely become a Weber fan. This one came from 83-87. Can't stand Odom in games like this. Kept running out the same lineup and hoping for something different. And again, going back to what we talked about.
But again, he'd run out the same lineup, and they've been able to pull out games against San Diego. They've been able to pull out San Francisco. They've been able to pull out Loyola. Yeah. Games where they were behind and they came back. The magic has worked. It's the players and how they play the game and the style, and we lost our defensive edge big time in this game. Individually, defense, we couldn't stop them one-on-one in a lot of ways.
Which, I think we need to talk about later because I think that's been kind of a reoccurring theme.
Well, we've seen guys individually be able to score on us, and this was a few guys tonight.
53-38, Weber State does it to the Aggies again with a very angry emoji face. Okay. And again, football and basketball, they're partying down in Ogden tonight. For sure, there's no doubt.
Well, they deserve it.
Yeah,
they were thinking like I know some people from Weber State who said their team's not very good and they weren't going to have a very good year. Yeah. And all of a sudden now they've won a couple of games in a row, and they got BYU on Thursday, who has started to play a little bit better the last little while. BYU has, but I'm sure now this really gets BYU's attention, knowing what's coming in on Thursday night,
and
too.
if BYU loses, which I hope they do.
We all do.
That you have no one to blame but yourself, because they know. But, just there's going to be a lot of talk about the second half, and the Aggies did shoot very poorly in the second half. But that first half, to have been so dominant and to be so aggressive.
And to just have the same feel to it.
And
or
just
something.
They couldn't carry on with it.
If it went to 18 at 10 minutes, they should be up 20 at the half, or at least, or something or more.
I was looking for the up by 20 chant.
It didn't get there.
Too much one-on-one, too much not fighting over the screens. You could tell that in the second half. First half, they're fighting over screens. People were taking shoulders to the head, but they were fighting through it. Second half, they just got worn
Other than
down.
Rylan Jones's defense in the second half, there wasn't much there.
No, not at all.
So we are at 9:24, where the Aggies lose tonight, 75-72. More of our postgame continues. Golden Spike Electric is one of our sponsors. Remember, this cold weather. Can you imagine if your power goes out? They, of course, have Generac backup generators and all of your electrical needs. Golden Spike Electric is 257-3016. Thank you for sponsoring Game Day. Again, the Aggies lose their first basketball game of the year, so 9-0 at the start of the year is still the all-time Aggie record by 3 teams, including this year's team, but they dropped the game tonight. The final, again, is 75-72, Weber State. Back after this.
Prodigy Brewing has so much appreciation and gratitude for the warm embrace Cache Valley has given us. We want to invite you to join us for Sunday brunch from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Our Sunday-only brunch menu features sweet and savory options such as churro French toast, chilaquiles, fried chicken egg sandwich, and a Bloody Mary bar. You also won't want to miss our hash browns. Whether you're out with the family or friends, Prodigy Brewing is the place to be in Cache Valley. Open 7 days a week, located at 25 West Center Street in beautiful downtown Logan.
The Young Automotive Group is proud to announce Young Truck and Trailer Center in Cache Valley. Whether it's heavy equipment trailers, horse trailers, race car trailers, or cargo and utility trailers, we're excited to offer some of the finest trailers and flatbed work trucks to Cache Valley. Our team of experts look forward to helping you find the right truck or trailer to fit your needs, with competitive prices offered on every make and model for sale on our lot. With our extensive inventory, you'll find the best deals right here in Cache Valley. Young Truck and Trailer Center, just off Highway 89 in Logan. Think young, drive young.
Happy holidays, and thank you for letting Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat, the Allergy Clinic, and the Hearing Aid Center take care of your family medical needs. Make sure you call now for an appointment before the end of the year to utilize your cafeteria funds. Located in Providence and the new Three Peaks Medical Plaza, North Logan. The entire staff, along with Drs. Benyon, Blotter, and Robinette, wish you a safe and wonderful holiday. Go to CacheValleyENT.com for details. Most insurance products included. Select Med are accepted.
Advanced Heating and AC, the 2-time gold medal winner in Best in Northern Utah. They're teaming up with Carrier Heating and Cooling. Carrier provides you the best furnace units available, and now's the best time to buy a new unit before the weather turns Cache Valley cold. Financing options are available. Turn to the experts at Advanced Heating and Carrier. Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning, 752-7272, or stop by their showroom west of DI and online at advancedheating-ac.com.
We're not comfortable until you are. Advanced Heating and Air.
Aggie Game Day continues. Sponsored by Cache Valley Bank on News Talk KVNU.
Yeah, 18-point first half lead a couple of times. In fact, as late as 3 minutes to go in the first half, led 41-23. Weber's down 43-29. We start the second half of the game, and Utah State sees Weber come out and make it 43-32. Then they make it 45-32 on a shot by Bairstow. And I believe that's the last basket Bairstow makes in the game. He started the game with 8 straight for the Aggies, and a 7-0 one by the Wildcats gets the game back to where eventually they are to within 3. They're within 2. They take the lead as Jones makes 2 free throws to make it a 50-48 ball game, and that was it. They take their first lead. They ran by the Aggies the last 10 minutes. They lead and win this game. Again, 75-72. Aggies did tie it 3 times down the stretch, but every time tied it, and Weber State responded right after that. So that kind of is a review of the game. And let's go to James, who likes to call us, and we appreciate callers at 753-KVNU. James, your thoughts on this one?
disappointing loss tonight, guys. But you're absolutely right. It was a completely different team in that second half. The first half and then the second half, you were just wondering, who is this team? And your points are spot on. They came out cold, but it was a lot of one-on-one plays. It didn't seem like the team play, and you're absolutely right. The defense wasn't there in that second half, so all those things contributed. I remember one point we got to the line. We had two different opportunities, the front end of a 1-and-1. We were down by 4 points.
Yep.
And if we had made both of those, we would have been within 2. And then the next time we had a foul, we would have tied the game there. So I think foul shooting hurt us a little bit too. Yeah, disappointing loss tonight, especially when we were favored. I was so excited. Football, Weber came in and wiped our butt, and then I was hoping we'd do the same to them tonight, but unfortunately, we just didn't have a good second half for the reasons you guys have been talking about.
It was not, again, my point, I wrote down right here on my scratch sheet that I have. We're not playing Aggie basketball. We give up the Utah State Aggie style, and that's what happened there with that one-on-one play and some of that, and then again, giving up the other stuff at the other end, and a few times they drove it to the basket. We didn't have any answers and no help underneath. And I understand that maybe we had to try to play man-on-man, and they spread the floor pretty well with their offense in the second half to make us have to do that. And then when they did penetrate, they kicked to some guys, and some guys made three-point shots too. James, anything else you want to say?
No, thanks, guys.
Okay,
always
thanks for calling. We always appreciate you calling in, James, because, again, we love to have callers, 753-5868. Text line is 339-0321. Anything else there, John?
Yeah, I got a couple more comments from 5464. Epic second half meltdown reminiscent of Craig's team at Boise a few years ago.
There's some games that have got, that was we had the comeback one year against Boise, then the meltdown against Boise late in the game. Both of those times, one time it went for us and the other time it went against us. Yeah,
and it's an important thing to recognize. You got to give Weber credit. It's hard to come back from being that far down and to be able to maintain your lead, and they did it. We didn't help them, but still, to come back from that kind of a lead and still come out with a win, you don't see it that often.
And look at those. I mean, and all of a sudden we had Ashworth making them, but again, it's Ashworth making them for us, and on the other side, it's Ballard, it's Cunningham, it's Verplanken. They got some people. They got more help. Too, in that particular time of making the threes to counter our threes.
They did. They had other guys step up. 8968 again commented that was the worst half of Aggie basketball. Let me try that again. That was the worst half of basketball the Aggies have played this year, if not the last three quarters. And
by far. And I would say, about three quarters of this game. And even though we had that 18-point lead late in the first half, it wasn't the same feeling as when you had the start of the game and had the 18-point lead.
And you know what's interesting? I appreciate the comment by 8968 talking about the last three quarters, but you felt it wasn't going to turn around. The games earlier this year that you're talking about where they came back, they got the wins, you felt like, okay, they kind of got stuck in the mud here for a second, but they're going to get out of it. Tonight it seemed like they were just dinosaurs in the tar pit. They were not getting out. And really, it was those last 3 minutes. Great 10 minutes, great job being aggressive, driving the ball. They were getting all the calls, all the fouls. But then all of a sudden it just stopped, and we see what happens when that happens.
Hey, it's nice to have another caller besides James joining with us on our post game. Jack wants to say something tonight about the Aggies lost 75-72. Jack, what's up?
Well, fellers, our Aggies are going to be fine, but I think they learned a very valuable lesson tonight, and that is you got to play a second half. I think honestly they felt at halftime that they pretty much had the game won, and they came out a little flat, and Weber State came out with fire in their eye, and we simply did not answer. I felt like we should have started making some coaching adjustments a little quicker. They kept chewing away at the lead, and we kept, pretty much doing the same things over and over, which was taking, in the early part of the second half, taking a lot of threes instead of trying to get the ball inside some. And in the meantime, they were just gaining confidence with every possession. And I just feel like both our players and our coaching staff will learn a really valuable lesson tonight.
I would hope so. I would hope so. And, yeah, it's just like it's kind of like the fire went out and then they couldn't relight it tonight. And other games,
right.
They've even though they've got down 13 like they did against Loyola, they still had some drive in it. And tonight it's like they just couldn't get started. And finally, Weber, you got to hand Weber some credit because they kept the ball out of Stephen Ashworth's hands for a long time there in the second half before he finally got it. And look what it did. It almost still got us back to where we got the lead in this game.
Yeah, they sure did. They keyed on Stephen. And I don't think you'll see Punk go, what did he shoot from three, like 1 out of 10?
It was miserable tonight. Yeah, and again, no, he wasn't 1 for 10. He was 2 for 9, which isn't too far away from that. How about that? He's a lot better than 1 for 10.
Either one stinks.
It's not, and then
that's not going to happen.
And then the problem is we
again.
went to him twice there late in the game to try to get a big basket, and it didn't work too.
Yeah.
So and again, and he's come through this year.
He won't go 2 out of 9 again. He's too good of a shooter. But we really need to learn something from this one. And, Weber always plays their best game of the year against us.
Mm-hmm.
Remember last year, though, we blitzed them, and and then in the second half, they just couldn't cut over the top. We blitzed them in the first half and just had that almost 20-point lead, and then just kind of held them off and won down in Ogden. But, there's been a lot of years where Weber State has always played well against us. And even though I was amazed when I added it up, Randy Ray was only 4 for 12 against Utah State down through the years and that. And we had beaten them the last 3 times.
This game real.
Yeah, they do.
They take this game very seriously. They love to come up here and play, and man, a win is a feather in their cap. But we'll be okay.
Okay, I think you're good. I think you got a point there, and I hope you're right. Thanks, Jack.
You bet.
And again, I talked about it. We were the first team that played Weber State in state in 1970, 70 or 71. I guess it would have been 71. And we were the first one to play them, and they came to Logan and beat us the first time we ever played them. Yeah. And we were still an NCAA team that year. So, again, let's hope that good things can happen again this year.
Jack, a couple of great points, as far as the game goes itself. They dominated us inside. You look at they out-rebounded the Aggies. They ended up scoring more points in the paint. They did a great job, and I really think he was right in that comment that maybe the coaching staff, when it started to get a little closer, should have worked the ball into the middle a little more, try and get some baskets in the paint. They didn't. That's beside the point. But it's an opportunity for this team to improve because you're not going into, with all due respect to the Gosner Classic, you're playing teams that you wouldn't have seen then. Seattle, good team. Iona, very well coached.
I think Coach Eric Duff is doing a great job the last little bit. I guarantee you that at least 5 of the teams in Hawaii are better than Weber State.
Yeah,
I would say at least 5, if not 6. And Washington State the other day didn't play Baylor that badly.
No, they played them tough.
Yeah, and they were supposedly one of the weaker teams. I think maybe George Washington might be the weakest team going in the tournament.
You look at Seattle, and Seattle's a team that played Oregon State, a Pac-12 team. Very tough. They ended up losing by 15.
Melded in a little bit in the second half.
But still played them tough. Iona's coached by Rick Pitino.
So they're good.
And so
they brought back the New Mexico game even though we're down 18. They came back and made it interesting in the last few minutes of the game down there yesterday.
The 2 tougher teams on our side of the bracket, you're going to have to come in and play solid games. Again, reoccurring theme, for an entire 40 minutes.
Well, Aggies lose tonight 75-72, and Player from the Spectrum brought to you by Les Olson Company. Half of all organizations been victim of ransomware attacks. Don't take risk it with lesolson.com. It's Rylan Jones who speaks tonight.
You reset from this now and just kind of try to learn from it and move on.
Yeah, it's a crappy feeling, and, we're going to, think about this one a lot tonight, and, the things that we fell short on in the second half. And that tomorrow is a new day, and we're going to come back with we're going to need to be more focused, more disciplined, and ready to take on tomorrow. Obviously tonight's going to hurt, and we're all going to think about tonight. But when it comes tomorrow, we got to come back to practice, be more disciplined, and ready to go.
So what happened in that second half? Was it just everyone goes cold every now and again? What was going wrong there?
No, credit to them. We punched them in the mouth in the first half and got off to a great lead, and they did the same to us in the second half. I think at one point it was they were up 26-6 in the second half. You know, they had scored 26 points, we scored 6. It's kind of the exact opposite of what we did to them in the first half. And then, you know, momentum. Basketball is a game of momentum and game of runs, and we couldn't stop their momentum and get the momentum back on our side. And we just kind of traded baskets, didn't get the stops we needed to get towards the end of the game. And credit to them, they stymied us on offense. They did a good job guarding us. They made our ball stop, and, you know, we weren't the same team that we had been for the previous 9 games in the second half.
It was a pretty rough game for Taylor. How was his maturity, his veteran leadership able to boost him to come back for the next game?
Yeah, I mean, everybody has a bad shooting night, right? But, you know, it's just you can't dwell on this one. And, he's played in a lot of college basketball games and scored a lot of points. I'm sure he's had nights where he didn't shoot well or shoot how he'd like to. And like we said, tomorrow we just got to come back with the focus that is even better than what we had going into this season. You know, but this is kind of take that next step forward to be back to how we were in the summer, that focused and that disciplined.
I thought that was, when Ashford started heating up, you get it back and tie it. I thought those couple of threes that Weber State hit in that stretch were really
Exactly. I mean, we hit a 3 to tie it. They put a 3 to go up. We hit a 3 to tie it, and they hit a 3 to take the lead, and then kind of ended right there, right? That's you got to score, and then you got to get a stop. And it was score. So when you do score, you can't win. And so we needed to get those stops in the second half that we didn't get.
What needs to be changed about the three-point defense to avoid that happening in the future?
Yeah, I mean, first half, we allowed 7 3-point shots. You know, we were on high hands to their shooters. Second half, first 8 minutes, they had 7 3-point attempts. So it was just honestly on our lack of focus and discipline to get to their shooters, and we just came out of the second half flat and we're ready to go.
How are you feeling health-wise?
I'm feeling good. It was a rough couple of days for a while, but I'm back to feeling good and happy to be back here playing with my team. Just being on, even last game, just being on the bench was, a step forward. So super happy to do that.
About how long did it take for you to feel like you were back up to 100%? I know concussion protocol can sometimes get
it was, I was not good for four days, and towards probably the 10th day is maybe the 9th day, I don't know, I started feeling better, and I gradually kept getting better from about day 4 to day 9, so it was good. Yeah.
There's Rylan Jones after the game. Again, it's good that he is feeling better. Right there at that point of the game when finally we get Ashworth into it, he made that 3, and then Funk gets that lay-in off the pass. We make it 57-56, and Rylan draws a charge, and you just feel the momentum right there could happen again. And then Weber State called the timeout after that, and they came right back, and Ballard drove the ball, got to the basket, and then we were just chasing again. Yeah. That was one key time after Rylan had drawn another charge. I think he drew 2 more tonight. I think I wrote down he has now drawn in his career. He's had 7 this year. He's had 35 in 38 games playing for the Aggies, drawing charges.
I hope he stays healthy. It's not surprising he isn't always getting beat up a little bit by that. I think it's rather ironic that, here we are, first game back, and who's the guy that comes to the podium? And, we've talked about Stephen Ashworth is certainly the offensive guy for this team. Well, I think that Rylan's really kind of the leader behind the scenes.
And again, you could tell the coach wanted to play him and Stephen together a lot again tonight. Did try a little bit of some other combinations when it wasn't working. Bairstow in foul trouble kind of threw things off a little bit there. And here's Z and RJ, who had such terrific games the game before. And again, you could tell Z came out and thought he could just shoot a few more shots, and it didn't work as well. And there were a couple times that he, on defense, kind of missed his guy a little bit a couple times tonight, too. So, again, they have terrific games. You got to... Hopefully, I thought that would build momentum, and then all of a sudden we'd get much more impact from them, and we didn't get hardly any impact from them in this game tonight.
We've talked all year about how many different guys can step up, and we've seen that all year, where if one guy's having an off night, other guys will step up. Well, tonight, you just had a lot of guys that just struggled all the way around.
And you look at that, we have 5 double figures, but who's been the most consistent Aggies all year long?
Stephen Ashworth. And
then
Dan.
You probably Funk, and then Dan.
Yeah.
Those 3 have been the most consistent all season long.
Yeah.
Yep.
And unfortunately with Dan, I mean, the thing is, people are going to look at he struggled from the free throw line, but still, again, he has a double-double. He has 12 and 10. And
but
was
those missed free throws in
hurt.
this game really did hurt a couple of times when he had a chance to get more. All right, we're back with more 75-72 Wildcats over the Aggies tonight to stop the 3-game win streak against Utah that Utah State had over them. And we'll continue, hopefully, Coach Odom coming soon on game day, post-game. Brought to you by Alpine Home Medical, your one-stop shop for home medical equipment. Remember, it is 774-4500. Call them tomorrow. The superior level of service, quality service they provide for customers with all of your home medical needs and other medical needs. And this is game day.
This is Ryan at My Mattress. A mattress store recently closed right next door to our Riverdale location. Most people have said how awesome that is for us. I think I disagree. At My Mattress, we love competition. We love it if you shop other places, but also give us a shot. Shop online or go to other stores, maybe even a warehouse sale, but come into My Mattress because we want our shot at winning your business. Come into My Mattress right now and see if better sleep and better pricing are what you'll find.
As a small business, achieving your financial goals and ambitions can be a steep and rocky mountain to climb. This is Brett Green, president of Cache Valley Bank. To conquer this mountain and achieve your goals, it takes planning, hard work, and discipline. At Cache Valley Bank, we have the resources, expertise, and flexibility to help you scale your way to success. Give us a call. Let's work together and climb the mountains that await. Cache Valley Bank, member FDIC.
Alpine Home Medical has been around for over 25 years. Can you believe that? Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent. What keeps us coming to work every day? We're passionate about caring for you. From home and bathroom safety to transportation, mobility, recovery, oxygen, sleep, and more, come into any of our 10 locations today and let us take care of you.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
Visit us at alpinehomemedical.com.
This is Zach with HSA Depot. Christmas is nearly here. Make sure you be merry and bright by using your pre-tax funds on your medical needs. We know your regular holiday budget is disappearing quick, so instead, save money by using your pre-tax income to buy qualifying medical supplies. HSA Depot carries hundreds of unique and dashing eligible products to help you conquer your healthcare. Come to HSA Depot next to Sally Beauty Supply and see how much you can save this holiday season. HSA Depot, 5-star review.
For 125 years, SC Needham Jewelers is where Utah gets engaged. People from St. George to Rexburg drive to Logan to shop Utah's oldest jewelry store. One major reason is price. When diamonds are compared up and down the Wasatch Front, SC Needham Jewelers is as low or lower than any store in the state. We compete with any 50 to 70% off sales, internet prices, or so-called wholesale prices. Recently voted as #1 jeweler in the best of northern Utah. Monday through Saturday, 10 to 7. SC Needham Jewelers, middle of the block, at the sign of the clock.
It's KVNU Aggie Game Day, brought to you by Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning on News Talk KVNU.
Al Lewis, John Russell here, and Weber State now, it's a 10-26 record they have in Logan. Aggies had beaten the Wildcats 11 of the last 12 times they had played in Logan. Won last year by 95-80. It's now 45-29, the all-time series. Weber State actually started off with, I think, they led the first two in this series before the Aggies had been able to come back and grab a lead in that. Rylan Jones, after the game, he was 2 for 2 from the field, 1 for 1 from 3, 1 for 1 from the free throw line, and a very rare game for Rylan Jones to play 22 minutes. Did draw those 2 charges, but he had zero assists and 1 turnover. That shows you that when he's playing like he is, guys find places where he can find them and hit passes. So I don't know if that's as much on him as maybe on everybody else, too.
I was just about to say that. I think the fact is when people aren't hitting baskets, that ends up being the problem. And tonight, you look at the numbers, and what's astounding, after shooting 54% in the first half, they end up shooting 31% in the second. And you know, it's a simple game. You make a basket, and you're going to be all right. And they could make – there were open shots. You know, for those that were concerned, you know, about the shooting percentage, I think Rylan might have hit it on the head. They're just sometimes you're off, and tonight was one of those. I don't know if everybody's bags packed for Hawaii and they're ready to go. And
I know they are leaving early tomorrow.
And thinking they were going to be able to walk through this, and no, didn't happen tonight.
So, again, it was Ashworth with 5 assists and Shulga with 5 assists. Shulga, again, only 2 for 5 shooting the ball, went 6 for 7 at the foul line. He did miss a free throw there late in the game, but he gets a total of 10 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists, but he did have 3 turnovers. I know there was one time when the coach took him out because he wasn't handling the ball very well in that second half. And we only had 10 turnovers, and that's not a big number. Points off of turnovers, like we said, if the Aggies, Weber had 11, and we got 9 points out of that. They only got 2 points out of all of our turnovers in this whole game. Yeah. So it was the missed shots. And again, you mentioned second chance points. They got 9-2. They win the game by three. There's 7 points right there on second chance baskets. That's a big part of it.
And those are things throughout the year have gone the Aggies' way, and it just didn't happen.
And Ballard got 14 off of their bench to really help their bench to be within 2 points of our bench, which is normally. And of course, our bench was really Akin tonight. Jones off the bench had 6, and then Hamoda only 2, and Idlerock only 2 in this game.
Well, that's where the Aggies are going to succeed this year. They've got to have bench scoring. But, we had somebody, and again, we'd love to hear from your text, 435-339-0321, but made the point about, Odom and concerns about his game management in games like this. But it's worked throughout the year. Yeah. And so it's hard to say it. If you had one guy that really was struggling, and I think if you pointed at anybody, it was Funk, just was not shooting the ball well tonight.
And he missed the last game because he was hurt, so maybe it does take him a little while to get back to it.
But he's also a guy this is not a freshman that's had a phenomenal breakout season. He's a guy that's been around. He knows the game. He knows how to play. He's been in big situations. And, you're going to get my occasional Arizona comment. Years ago, Steve Kerr, Sean Elliott there in the Final Four, a guy named Craig McMillan, just a phenomenal three-point shooting team. And they went ice cold in the Final Four. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you have a game where you come out and it just doesn't happen. It's how the team responds that's going to be the big factor.
And they will have a chance. They'll fly tomorrow to Hawaii. They'll get there in the later afternoon. I don't know if they'll practice tomorrow night. They may not get back to it till Wednesday, but then they've got the Wednesday good practice, and then they'll play on Thursday after. They play at noon or close to it in Hawaii. It'll be 20 minutes after the end of the first game. So it'll probably, I'm guessing, will start on ESPNU at about 3:15, 3:20. So we're going to do game day at 2:05, and we'll take it up to close to game time there when that's going to happen. And then whenever they play after that, it depends on if they win or lose, and they'll turn around and play on Friday. And then they will play on Sunday no matter what. They'll play 3 games there. On Christmas Day, they'll play the last day of the tournament. Still waiting to get the coach from the Spectrum, and we do not have that yet. Let me do some stats right now for Cache Valley Bank. Why don't you check Monday Night Football? Because that's about the only other thing that's going on tonight. So Weber State, again, they had 5 in double figures. Coming into the game, they had 2 guys averaging double figures. Jones gets 16, 9 boards, 4 assists, tremendous all-around game, and he played with 1 more foul after 2 fouls early in the game. So he was really good. And again, I think he's only a sophomore, maybe, at Weber State. Cunningham had 11. He made 3 threes that were huge. Kohler really kept him in it early in the game, making some shots. He had 12 with 5 boards in the game. And Verplanken was blanked in the first half and then came out and got 10 points in the second half. And he's their second leading scorer. 2, I thought, he's 6 points, 5 rebounds, a couple of assists. He matched our inside guys and did pretty well. Ruzan got 2 points, Ballard got 14, and Tamba got 2 on 1 basket in the game. He did have 5 boards in the game. Beneficiary of a bad call by Mike Reed there at half court after Ryland had stole the ball. They called the foul on Ryland, and it was Tamba who actually gave him a clothesline in the head. They hit 10 of 23s in the game. And again, that's unlike what Weber State's been doing. They shoot 49%. They'd struggled shooting, but they had a good shooting game against Cal Poly, so they're coming back. And they out-rebound the Aggies 36-30. They had 17 assists, 11 turnovers in this game. The Aggies shoot 42%, 21 of 50. Bairstow was 5 for 9. Ashworth was 4 for 9. Shulga was 2 for 5. Funk was 4 for 13. Dorius was 0 for 1. Really not much of a factor at all tonight. And Idlerock was 0 for 1. Jones 2 for 2. Hamoda 1 for 4. And Akin was 3 for 6. He had 6 of 11 at the foul line, Akin did, with 10 rebounds and an assist. Funk had 10 points, 4 of 13 overall, 5 rebounds for Funk. And then Shulga, we mentioned his line. Ashworth, 16 points tonight. Aggie leading scorer, 4 of 9, 4 of 8 from 3, 4 of 5 free throws. And he had 2 rebounds, 5 assists, couple of turnovers. And then Bairstow had 14 on 5 of 9, 1 out of 3 from the three-point line, made his first 3. And then he was 3 for 3 at the foul line. He had 2 rebounds and 2 assists in 23 minutes is all he ended up getting in this game. If you look at the plus-minus in the game tonight, Bairstow gets a +5. Scholl gets a +6. Funk actually got a +4. Dorius gets a +4 in the game. For the time they're on the floor, that's it. Who got the worst? Z Hamoda, -12. He got a -12 tonight. Again, when he was on the floor, we actually lost ground. And usually his defense and then what he gave us the other day on offense was a huge game.
Yeah, I thought Trevin played well defensively, especially in the first half, the first 4 minutes he was in.
But I thought then two started to dominate a little bit more inside, and they decided to go with Akin just a little bit more. You could just tell in the rotation.
And so, it's unfortunate.
Trevin only played 9 minutes, and Idle Rock played 6. Everybody else played double figures. So that's your stats for Cache Valley Bank. One last break, and then we hope we hear from Coach Odom as the Aggies lose 75-72. Text line still available at 339-0321. And 753-KVNU for phone calls. We'll get to the coach, we hope, next.
We're heading into some crazy weather this winter, which means power outages. Tyler and his team at Golden Spike Electric can install a Generac automatic standby generator for your home so you can avoid issues when the power goes out. If you have one already, Golden Spike Electric can maintain your Generac automatic standby generator for you. Find them online at gsegenerators.com or call 435-257-3016. Golden Spike Electric and Generac automatic standby generators. Power you can count on.
Don't wait. Plan your New Year's Eve celebration now. Get your night rolling at the Riverwoods Conference Center's New Year's Eve buffet catered by Elements Restaurant. The night kicks off at 5 p.m. for you early birds. Reservations are being accepted from 5 to 8 p.m. Enjoy a delicious buffet full of appetizers, salads, garlic rosemary prime rib, and brown sugar Dijon pork loin. Plus decadent desserts sure to satisfy any sweet tooth. Start your New Year's off in style with family, friends, delicious food, and live music at the Riverwoods Conference Center New Year's Eve buffet. Call ahead for reservations 750-5151. 750-5151.
Old McDarrell has a farm and appliance farm.
With down-home country prices and big city selection.
E-I-E-I-O. When you're looking for a friendly spot to drive a little and save a lot, hey, Old McDarrell has a farm. An appliance farm. Darrell's Appliance. Low overhead, but lots of country charm. See Darrell's Appliance in beautiful downtown Benson.
Copiers, printers, service, and supplies are just the beginning. Les Olson IT is the premier source for your business's structured cabling, IT, software, telephones, and security systems. We partner with you to find the ideal solution to all of your office technology needs. Tell us your goals and we'll get you there. Find out more at lesolson.com.
Les Olson IT.
It's never too cold or wet to get rid of that old vehicle. Now is the time to earn extra cash for the holidays by calling DD Auto and Salvage. Let them pay you for that junk vehicle. DD Auto and Salvage makes it easy and fast to get rid of your junker vehicles, paying you the most money possible. Pickup is available. DD Auto and Salvage in Logan wants to pay you today. Call 787-1204.
That's 787-1204 today.
See store for details.
As our world changes, we'll keep you up to date. News Talk KVNU Logan, 102 FM, 610 AM, the voice of Northern Utah.
When it comes to home care, it's important to know you have a choice. If you or a loved one is in need of hospice or home health services, remember that Primrose Home Care and Hospice believes in treating the patient as well as the problem. We work directly with you and your doctor to create a health plan that's catered to your needs. Our team is devoted to providing options in the freedom and safety of your own home. Visit us at primrosecare.com or call to schedule a free consultation. Primrose Home Care and Hospice, your local hospice and home health provider since 2006.
It's KVNU Game Day with Al Lewis and John Russell.
And Weber State again stopped the Aggies' 9-game win streak tonight with a great second-half performance. They were down 18 a couple of times in the first half, and they came back and won the game 75-72 over Utah State. First loss of the year for a team that was ranked 37th in the national polls today, both of the coaches and the poll. And we were number 10 in NCAA net rankings, which will drop from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And now it's time to focus on getting back to those things that made us successful earlier in the year.
So there's 4 undefeated teams now.
Yeah.
New Mexico is one, and then what is it? Connecticut and
Mississippi State
and Purdue.
Yep.
Those are the undefeated teams in college basketball. All right, the coach postgame here brought to you by My Mattress. Remember, they carry Cache Valley's only source for IntelliBed gel mattresses, rated #1 in better sleep. It's My Mattress by the South Walmart. They're also at Riverdale Road in Ogden, and here comes Coach.
Obviously, I want to talk about Weber State first and foremost. I thought they were fabulous in that second half. They did a great job, Coach and his staff. Players were very competitive in that second half. Right away, got back in the game, pretty quickly. Jones is a dynamite player. Very familiar with him from way back when we were, coaching at UMBC, watching him play in AAU and kind of his game. He's really good. Obviously leads a ton of, the positivity that was happening within that game, but they all played well. They made the plays that they needed to make in order to win the game. Timely shots, obviously stops, big time out of halftime. We get down 26-6 basically in the second half. We're struggling scoring. We're making some uncharacteristic plays, at the rim. They were 4 for 7 from 3 in the first half. And we knew, we told our guys at halftime, we kept some of those threes down, all right, but they still shot a pretty good percentage, really good percentage. And that was due to some of our breakdowns. They made one step back, up top on Taylor, but the other ones were more our defensive breakdowns. And in the second half, when you're not scoring, sometimes that can suck the energy out of you a little bit. And when you are scoring like they were getting stops. Now the energy, momentum shifts, and that's what college basketball is all about. There's momentum changes all the time in sports, and you see it all the time. You saw it in the World Cup. You see it in football. You see it in basketball, obviously, nightly, and it happens a lot in basketball because it's just such a quick game. And you have to give all the credit to Weber State and their players for making the key plays throughout that second half to give themselves the best chance to win. And we just obviously our guys are kicking themselves, but we understand that we're about a third of the way through the season at this point, and the guys are off to a good start. And that's just what it is, though. It's a start, to the season. And, we realize we've got to play better. We can't play one half. It's a tale of two halves. It takes two halves to win a basketball game. And we did not play two halves in this particular one. But I want to make sure that Weber State gets the credit as opposed to us just not playing well. They did a really good job, of competing, really hard and not giving in to a deficit at halftime. They fought back, really quickly. So happy to take any questions.
What adjustments did they make in the second half? You guys were doing all right on offense, and then just
we played more tentative, right? We were playing more not to lose, right, and just playing a little bit tentative, on offense. We weren't in an attack mode. We had some turnovers. We threw it right out of bounds, one time. Just miscommunication there. We took some tough shots at the rim. Challenging big guys in there at the rim, and okay, it's gonna be a hard shot, and now all of a sudden that gets them going the other direction if they rebound. We only had 2 offensive rebounds in the game. That's something that we haven't been great at so far this season, but that wasn't a great effort for us. And then we didn't we weren't moving as well, right? We couldn't get them in scramble as much, and so their bodies were in front of us, and we missed some free throws, right? We missed 2 front end of the 1-on-1s, and so that can kind of take the juice away a little bit. But they weren't playing a different defense; it was pretty much the same defense, but we were just a little bit more tentative.
I thought it was big when Ashford did start heating up a little bit, with those couple of threes.
Yeah.
They responded each. And they were playing really loose, like you said. We just were out there playing.
Yeah, they're out there playing.
And they answered each of those. And
they did.
It seemed like you guys couldn't get them all.
Yeah, it was either a layup or it was a 3. I think it was like 3, 3, 3, 3, right? Back and forth. And so if you're trying to, whittle that, lead down 5, 6, 7 points, whatever it was, you can't trade the baskets at that point. And, time was tight. And, we were 1 for 5 on stops at the end of the game. And so you've got to be able to do both, in order to finish it out. And Weber State answered every single time, and some of it could have been miscommunication. We had them at 6 seconds on the clock and they laid it in the basket, right? And we didn't really contest it effectively. We get beat off the dribble, up top. And they made the key plays, baseline drive. One kid pops out and now we have 2 on the ball. They throw it out. He's wide open for 3. 3 makes a 3 in the corner. He's open. And, we did not guard, as intensely as we needed to. And we weren't as intentional, as we needed to be, on their 3-point shooters. And they had the balance of, 20s buckets, were big buckets. We get caught in a switch, right? And he gets 2 layups, in there. Back stand down gets a layup, and then on a switch on Max gets 1. Those are big baskets.
Speaking of number 20, it seemed like Aggie was doing a really good job in that matchup, at least for the first half.
Mm-hmm.
What adjustments did you see from 20 specifically? What changed in that?
Well, we ended up switching too quickly, I think. And, I think that's honestly what happened. There was a couple of baskets that he got, on our switches where he was rolling behind, and now he's a big guy down in there. And we've got a guard, trying to kind of deal with him. It's an offensive rebound and lays it in the basket. But it's not like I don't necessarily think they were trying to go to him, right? It was just they were running their offense. 2 was kind of dictating some things, and 11 did a great job, and 24, he made some big shots as well. The pull-up, in the middle ball screen there at the end of the game was a big bucket, and he was clearly open, to shoot that one. Dan was back, and Ryland kind of got cracked on it, and he had a clear look at the basket. And we've got to be more tight to him at that point.
Pretty rough game shooting for Taylor tonight. How confident are you in his ability to?
Always confident. I told him that he shot faked in the corner one time. I was like, what are you doing? Shot faking, when they're not near you. And so he knows. His teammates tell him that too. I'm not worried 1 second about him. But he can't be shot faking like that. We need him to shoot when he's open.
There's the coach again tonight, Coach Ryan Odom. And again, a lot of credit to Weber State, and again, they deserve it. And, there were twice in the game when Funk got the ball immediately, and usually he's just a catch and shoot, and he did do a little fake shot and everything and missed both of those shots in this game.
And didn't stay in his normal flow, but, you can spread it around, and Coach clearly was frustrated with the overall effort. And, luckily you live to play another day.
And I think he feels like it was, their defense definitely let them down in the second half, how they could do things. And then, of course, they seemed to kind of get out of their offensive flow. So, in the end, Weber State shoots the highest percentage against an Aggie opponent this year. The Aggies shoot a season low, and the Aggies are out-rebounded for just the second time this year. And it was by 6. And I think the other time they got out-rebounded was by only 1 or 2, as I recall. So those kind of things all added together. You don't play great offense, you don't play great defense, you don't rebound the basketball, and basketball gets away from you, and the Aggies lose by just 3 on their home floor.
Yeah, and we heard it. It's interesting. Jalen made a comment at the top of the show, just saying that, he feels like he's, just a repeating record over and over again. But rebounding wins games.
It does.
You know, you're going to do that.
And what was Stu Morrill for years was always on the rebounds. Craig Smith's teams, that was a big deal. And again, I know Coach Odom is always worried about that, and he pointed it out. We only had, 2 offensive rebounds the whole night long.
Yeah. And the tough thing, you look at the big guy, Tamba, who came in, only played 9 minutes and got 5 boards.
Yep.
And he came in at the right time.
He did.
Did he what he was supposed to. You talk about Stu. We did have one more comment from the text line from Tsunami Social. It says, Stu always had a play for us to calm things down. Called it dribble. And he felt like we were a little panicky tonight.
I remember when Randy Ray played Stu the very first time, he told his guys, supposedly, I heard through the back channels, that if you allow the dribble play to work against us, you're going to run laps or ladders or something like that. And so Weber State was always on top of that. Yeah. And Eric Duft has been there all 16 years. And I don't know if we've seen a little bit of it kind of out of the Aggies of running some kind of variation because everybody now in basketball has taken that play. And, Stu kind of really deserves a lot of credit for that because a lot of guys have swiped it, and he kind of always said it was something that somebody had run and he'd noticed and kind of varied it all. And they had a lot of variations off of that, too, that they could use. So,
well, it's, again, panicky or not, Weber did what they needed to. Got good, solid performances from all their players, and they end up with the W.
We just had to lock down on defense a couple of times and couldn't do it in this game when we made shots. And so Weber 75-72. John, anything else said?
No, that's all we've got.
We'll see you after the game on Thursday.
I'll be here.
Okay, the Aggies are going to play. It'll be around, I'm guessing, 3:15 or thereabouts. It'll be ESPNU for the television. So we'll do game day a little after 2. We'll go on, and we'll take it up to close to game time. And then we'll be on immediately after the game as well. We mentioned all of our sponsors tonight. We appreciate them. Jason Walker getting us the coaches interview and the Ryland Jones interview from the Spectrum. Appreciate the callers. Appreciate the texters. And, of course, the sponsors, as we mentioned. So Weber State stops the Aggies win streak here at the start of the season. Aggies will play Seattle on Thursday at 9-1. Seattle, I think, is 8-2, I think, with their win last night. I think that's their record. So for John Russell, Al Lewis, and we'll rejoin our regular programming in progress right now.